Welcome into CBS Sports HQ alongside Tommy Tran. I'm Tiffany Blackman. And Tommy, after Monday Night Football, does the playoff picture, does it start to seem like it's getting clearer?
A little bit. I don't think it's crystal clear, but certainly second half of the season now, we know which teams are looking forward to the draft a little bit more than others. But it's interesting to see some of the fights for the top seed, wild card hunt certainly. So let's give you a look at what the NFL playoff picture looks like at the moment. Right now, you would have the Denver Broncos as the top seed in the AFC without the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoff picture after Week 11. And the reigning champs are sitting pretty at number one, but questions about that offense, some of the receivers, of course. So even though they're winning, it's not without some type of conversation out in the city of brotherly love. Let's bring in John Breech to talk about our playoff picture entering Week 12 of the NFL season. And Breech, when it comes to some tiebreaker scenarios, we know certainly in this new expanded playoff format, only the top seed gets the bye. If we start in the AFC, it's relatively new blood with the Broncos. You have the Patriots and even the Colts who are tied in the loss column, so a half game back. Is there a team you think that needs the one seed? What's your outlook in terms of that particular conference?
Well, I do think that Denver would probably benefit the most from the one seed just because we know what it's like for a team to go in there and try and play in that thin, mile-high air, especially in January when it would be cold. So they would have quite the home field advantage. Now, when you look at how that might end up breaking down, I'm not sure they're going to get it. The first problem is that if they end up in a tie with the Colts, well, they lost to the Colts earlier this season, so they don't have that head-to-head tiebreaker with Indianapolis. And then there's also a possibility where we see a three-way tie with the Patriots, with the Colts, with the Broncos. And if that happens, since the Patriots and Broncos didn't play each other, you throw the head-to-head result out between the Colts and Broncos, and you look at their conference records. And in that situation, the Colts right now have the best conference record at 6-1. But, Tommy, they also have the most difficult remaining strength of schedule in the AFC. So it's not going to be easy for them to keep that 6-1 going. We know they play the Chiefs on Sunday. They still play the Texans twice. They still play Jacksonville twice. We're looking at here. They still play the Seahawks and 49ers. So they have a very, very difficult slate there. And if this does come down to the Broncos and Patriots, again, they don't play each other this year, so it would come down to conference record. And the Patriots have the easiest remaining strength of schedule in the AFC. So I think New England would be my pick right now to earn that top overall seed.
What about NFC?
The NFC seems a little less complicated. I think I got a little convoluted in that AFC conversation, but the Eagles are absolutely in the driver's seat here. We see they are tied with the Rams at 8-2 overall, but let's not forget that Philadelphia has that head-to-head win over the Rams where they blocked the field goal, returned it for a touchdown. Well, that blocked field goal might end up getting them the number one overall seed. And then let's say that another team gets hot going down the stretch. Well, guess what? The Eagles have head-to-head, have that tiebreaker almost over every NFC contender. They beat the Buccaneers. They beat the Packers. They beat the Lions. They get to face the Bears on Black Friday. If they win that game, that's another NFC contender they would have head-to-head over. And then you look at that second tiebreaker, which is conference record. The Eagles are 7-1 right now, which is the best in the NFC. So head-to-head tiebreaker over everyone, best conference record. The Eagles feel like almost a lock to get that top seed.
All right, well, I was just looking at that schedule, and the Eagles have the Cowboys coming up this weekend, who, by the way, are in the hunt when it comes to the wild card mix. So, especially after that win against the Raiders on Monday Night Football, where they cruised by, and so they're now in this conversation. But when you look at the tiebreaker scenarios for wild card, John, can you break it down for us?
Yeah, well, when you look at the bottom of the NFC there, you're looking at two NFC West teams, the Seahawks and the 49ers. And then there's just kind of a free-for-all in the NFC North. So let's focus on the Seahawks and 49ers really quick. With the way that division is playing out, the 49ers are in good shape because when you have two divisional teams, you use a divisional tiebreaker first. The 49ers are 4-1 in the NFC West. They have a win over the Seahawks back in Week 1, which is huge. And Seattle's 2-2 in the division. So as long as the 49ers have a better division record. That will put them ahead of the Seahawks, assuming these two teams end up tied. And then you look at the NFC North, where anything could go at this point, because you've got the Bears in first place, but they have one of the most difficult remaining schedules. You have the Packers, who have that weird tie in there, which could actually end up helping them at the end, because if, say, the Bears, Lions, and Packers all finish with 10 wins, the Packers are going to win the division because of that tie. And then let's not forget about the Lions, who are on the outside looking in right now. And if you look at the schedules they have to play, they're going to play each other a lot over these final few weeks. You look at the Lions here. They still have to play the Packers on Thanksgiving. They close the season in Chicago against the Bears. And you look at the Packers schedule. They still have to play the Bears twice. They have to face the Vikings twice. The Bears have only played one division game, which is a huge low number. We just talked about the 49ers, who have played 5 division games. So there is a lot to be decided in the NFC North, but I would say the 49ers are situated the best to earn a wild card spot, and then obviously the Seahawks, because they've been playing so well.
So when we talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, I mentioned it at the top, right? It'd be crazy to think that they would not make the postseason. But that's where we sit with both of them at 500 in terms of their 5 wins and their 5 losses, Breech. And I know you're a stat head, so I'm not stealing one of yours here, but our research team said 2 teams, only 2, have won the Super Bowl with a 500 record this late in the season. That would be the 2001 Patriots and the 2011 Giants. So where are you at with the Chiefs right now? They're looking quite vulnerable these days.
Tommy, I don't want to say it because there's a 100% chance this video will be thrown back in my face in 2 months. But I don't think the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs. I am counting them out. I think the Broncos put that dagger in and kind of eliminated them. Now, let's look at the division, the AFC West first. I do not think they have a chance at all to win the division. If you look at right now, they're 5-5. If they go 7-0, win every single game for the rest of the season, that gets them up to 12-5. Well, the Broncos then just have to go 3-3, and they probably still win the division if the two teams are tied at 12-5. So I do think that Denver probably wins that division. So then you look at where the Chiefs fall in the wild card race, and that is even more brutal for Kansas City, because you look at the teams who they could end up in a tiebreaker with. The 3 teams that currently hold a wild card spot in the AFC are the Chargers, the Bills, and the Jaguars. Well, guess what, guys? The Chiefs have lost to all 3 of them. So that's 3 head-to-head scenarios out the window. You look at a possible conference record tiebreaker. The Chiefs are 2-4 in AFC games, which is the worst record of any playoff contender. So they have 0 tiebreakers going in their favor right now. The Chiefs are in trouble right now. Their playoff hopes are on life support, and I don't think anyone's going to come around to revive them.
Can you say that again? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. It's just we don't hear it very often at all. Let's shift gears then, because you kind of touched on the NFC West earlier. You've got the Rams leading the way, and then in the NFC North, it's the Bears, and that has been fun to watch. Their kind of resurrection this season. But there's some other teams in these divisions that are knocking on the door, John. So which division is more likely to get 3 teams into the playoffs?
Yeah, out of the NFC North and the NFC West, I would have to go with the West. And the reason for that is because I think that division has 2 teams that are absolute locks, and that's the Rams and the Seahawks. I mean, barring an epic collapse or Sam Darnold going out and throwing 4 interceptions in every game for the rest of the season, I think the Seahawks absolutely get in, and then the Rams could go 3-3, 3-4, and get in at 11-6. So I think they'll be fine, even worst case scenario. So the question is, can the 49ers get in? And you look at their schedule, and it feels friendly enough that they'll be able to do it. They still get to play the Browns, the Tennessee Titans. They play the Panthers on Monday night at home. If they win those 3 games, that gets them up to 10 wins. It almost doesn't matter what happens the rest of the season. So I do think the 49ers, Rams, and Seahawks all get in. And when I look at the NFC North, they might not get more than 1 team in. I do think they will get 2 teams, but just because they have to play so many divisional games down the stretch, it's going to be hard for a team in the NFC North to get to, say, 12 wins. I think the Bears, Packers, and the Lions maybe get to 11 wins tops. They just play each other so often. Like I said earlier, the Bears still have to play the Packers twice. They still play the Lions, so there's a lot of divisional games still out there. So I think that the NFC North probably ends up with 2 teams.
Okay, that's more hypothetical down the road. How about what's right in front of us here, Breech? Week 12 games. Have you highlighted a few in terms of impact on the playoff picture?
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the biggest ones. Let's start on Thursday night in the Amazon Prime game. We have the Texans facing the Buffalo Bills. The Texans are one of those teams. Obviously, that 0-3 start, it is tough to rebound from that and make the postseason, but they're now sitting at 5-5, and this is a huge game because according to our guy Stephen O at Sportsline, if the Texans lose on Thursday night, their playoff chances drop from 20.5% down to 12%. When you're under 15% this late in the season, you are almost as good as written off. So this is a huge game for the Texans. Obviously, the Bills would love to win it to stay in the AFC race, but they seem pretty comfortable in the wild card race, even with a loss. And then there's the big one in Kansas City. I told you I've already written the Chiefs off. Well, if they do want to stay alive, they absolutely have to beat the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. We have the Colts coming off a bye, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for the Chiefs. And the Chiefs are in a situation where right now, 57% chance of making the playoffs. That dives down all the way to 36% with a loss. So this is basically a make or break game for the Chiefs. I know every week it seems like we say their season is on the line. It really feels like their season is on the line this Sunday, and it's against an 8-2 Colts team that's going to want to win so they can stay in the race for that #1 overall seed. So that one is going to be a great one to watch on Sunday afternoon.
All right, John, certainly appreciate it. Thanks for giving us all the tie-breaking scenarios in the NFL heading into Week 12. Just a note, by the way, if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you don't want that game with the Colts to be a one-score game because they were so good last year, Tiffany.
Yeah.
They haven't been nearly as good this year. CBS Sports HQ news highlights here. It's all here. And the best part is it's all free.